everybody. This is Jonathan Kiosk, job coach and agency linkage specialist from Central Valley Charter Schools. And you're listening to your Transition Podcast. We pride ourselves in being the show that will be your go-to for transition-related information. Like always, I will be joined by my fearless co-host, Blake Wright. Blake, say what's up to our audience.
Thank you, Jonathan. What's going on, everybody? It's Blake here. We're excited to bring you guys episode 2 of our broadcast. We have 2 exciting guests today. One's a student from our own Central Valley Charter Schools. They will be helping Jonathan and I as we interview a San Jose Job Corps career technical manager, Sheena Mikesell. As you heard in our last episode, we were going to have Justine Duralt, but she's currently crushing it and working in her nursing test, so she needed to reschedule for a future podcast. However, our new guest, Sheena, actually helped Justine graduate, as well as countless other students.
Side note about yours truly is I worked with the Job Corps program for 10 years, watching students transform their lives. I had the privilege of working alongside, we called her Mrs. Sheena. Another, by the way, Justine wanted me to share with all of you that she will reschedule, and she was okay with me sharing a little bit about her and how she came into the program without a high school diploma, and she was able to leave with the GED, her medical assisting certification, and then she did so well, she went to advanced training and an advanced nursing program in New York. And so that's what Justine wanted me to communicate. Again, she says sorry she couldn't make it. And one thing I'll just say about Justine is that she was always working on her personal growth and her personal branding. And I want you to just kind of remember that, personal branding.
Hey, that's great. That's fantastic, Jonathan. And it's great to hear that she's doing so well, and that's incredible. Especially that personal branding. It's interesting that you mentioned that, because personal branding is definitely an important thing to be very mindful of. In fact, that's actually the topic that we're going to briefly touch on today. So, Jonathan, when I say a brand like Nike, what do you think of? What's the first thing you think of there?
Well, okay, basketball shoes, of course.
I like it. How about Golden Arches?
Big Mac and fries. In fact, it's close to lunchtime. I can actually taste the burger and feel my stomach kind of wake up. It's close to lunch.
Yeah, it's like Pavlov's dog. I drive past the Golden Arches, I start salivating, I want the burger. I see the arches, I want McDonald's. Perfect. So personal branding is the process of determining who you are, what you want to accomplish, and how you're going to market yourself to others.
Sounds great, Blake. But what is personal branding?
Well, the idea of personal branding has become increasingly popular among job seekers and professionals over the past several years. Simply put, branding is how you present yourself to others. Everyone already starts with their own brand identity, the qualities that make them different and unique. The process of personal branding gives you an opportunity to discover, strengthen, and to market those qualities.
Okay, got it. Okay, so question, how does one build their brand?
Glad you asked. All right, so here's a few tips. So first, do not invent a false persona. Your brand should always be an authentic expression of who you are, what you value, and what you want to accomplish. You don't want to be pretending to be somebody you're not. Next, you're going to want to determine your values, passions, and skills, which will help you create a personal brand that is both memorable and genuine. So now your brand should be informed by your existing reputation. What that means is think about how your current friends and your colleagues would describe you and your personality. Are you hardworking? Are you easy to get along with? Are you flexible, especially when times of adversity? Next, you can strengthen and emphasize these qualities as you develop your personal brand. And finally, your brand will also be determined by your audience you're attempting to reach and influence. So different fields are going to value certain skills above others. And what I mean by that is if you're looking into a field that requires teamwork and working well with others, like I mentioned before, being easy to get along with, if you have that personality trait, that's going to be really important to brand and market here.
Wow, thank you, Blake, for sharing that. I read recently that employers are starting to rely on things like social media and online resources for screening and recruiting potential candidates. I could totally see how that brand or how we present ourselves could be important. In fact, I believe the article referred to it as your online presence.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely, Jonathan. And I try to tell students that you need to expect these employers to Google you.
Exactly. In fact, if you're listening today and you want to know how to build your personal brand and make sure you have a good and professional online presence, let me share with you a few transition tips of the month. Last month, we had a transition tip of the month. This month, we're going to have transition tips. The first one is Google yourself. Before you start promoting yourself or your brand online and you start going to those job interviews, take time to Google yourself and learn about your current online reputation. Email address, that's a big one. Make sure that your email address reflects a professional image. So try to stay away from those ones like party all night 1 2 3 or something like that. Try using just a professional, simple version of your name. There's an example. An example that comes to mind is if you're wanting to go into the culinary field or just. I saw the example of chef.clarkwhitewell@gmail. Rather than, again, those casual ones where employers just will not take you seriously. LinkedIn is another one that's another tip. With over 175 million members worldwide. It is a huge resource. And I encourage students to start building those LinkedIns and really put your professional experience. And you may think, well, I don't have professional experience. I've never had a job. Well, I used to encourage students when I worked at Job Corps to use things like that volunteer work that you've done. Maybe you served at a soup kitchen. You could build a LinkedIn based off of your volunteer work. Last tip I want to just share is the elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is a clear and specific statement that summarizes you and your brand in under 30 seconds. What is my mission statement? What is it that I really, if I could sum up my career, if I could sum up who I am with a professional pitch, what would it be? And I want to invite you after this podcast, or right now you can pause it, to hit the pause button and take out a pencil and paper and write down what your personal elevator pitch or branding statement is.
Awesome. Those were fantastic tips, Jonathan. I absolutely love it. I'm going to have to go and make a new email. I can no longer be Patriots are the best football team at winwinwin.org. But yeah, thank you so much. Those are amazing. I also just want to quickly point out too that it is important to as well to be mindful of what you put out on the internet, on those social media pages, because it will be seen by any prospective audience. So side note, before we get into our interview today, There will be additional resources in the links below if you'd like to know more about personal branding and how you can build that and strengthen that.
Okay, all right. Well, without further ado, I would like to introduce our own very talented student helper today, Thalius G. He's going to get a Yosemite Monarch swag bag mailed to him for being the first to help ask our industry expert in our professional day some questions. So those of you who are listening or watching, show some love in the comments for our first ever student helper. And we would also love for you to help us on these podcasts. So we're going to be interviewing people from Job Corps. We're going to be interviewing people from community colleges. I just lined up another Job Corps speaker today, and so we are super excited about that. Okay, so we're going to jump right in. Our guest today, as mentioned before, is none other than Sheena, who is the Career Technical Training Manager at the San Jose Job Corps. You've worked for the Job Corps program for 8 years. Is that correct, Sheena? Or do I have that wrong?
No, you do. Almost 8 years. So over 7. Okay.
And for those of you, I don't have secret powers. I actually worked with Sheena at the Job Corps. She was a fellow manager, and I loved working with her. I also consider her a friend. That's a little secret. Okay, so for those who don't know, Sheena, those parents out there, those families who are sitting around listening to this podcast, what is the Job Corps program?
That's a great question. Job Corps program is a federally funded program for youth between the ages of 16 and 24 that come from low-income backgrounds. It's open to all youth, low income between the ages of 18 and 24. The program provides trade training education. So you have all these different trades. Trades are something you can do hands-on for the most part. If you think construction, automotive, machining, welding, maybe medical assisting, all kinds of things like that, it can be completed in shorter time than it would take for you to get a college degree. And a lot of the trade institutions, a lot of the trade organizations have apprenticeships. Many Job Corps centers also provide that. So it is a solid trade education that the students can pick up with us. But we also partner with high schools. So students can go ahead and get their high school diplomas while they're training with us. And we also help students getting their GEDs or high school equivalency programs. Now, I work for San Jose Job Corps Center in California, and there are over 110 Job Corps centers all over the US. There are a few in California, there are many states. They have their own Job Corps centers, and they all have different training programs for different trades. They have advanced training programs for different trades. So that's Job Corps for you in a nutshell, and it's a residential program where folks live in the dormitories. Students live in the dormitories here, get all their training needs met over here. And we do have some students that are non-resident, but they're local for the most part. So if you have a student that's interested in a trade that they find in Seattle, but they don't have any family in Seattle, and it's okay. When you get accepted to that Job Corps program, you can live in the dormitory over there, and your training needs, your uniform, your food, everything is taken care of by the Job Corps Center.
That's awesome. So you said 18. It's for 18 to 24-year-olds. So let's say I'm a student and I graduated early. I graduated at 16 or 17. Is the Job Corps program still open for me?
Absolutely. So it's open for people that are between the ages of 16 and 24. So we do accept minors. You do have to be 16 years of age. That program is open and available for minors, but you do need parental permission. And All the paperwork has to have your parents and guardians' approval for a
Okay.
minor to be accepted to the Job Corps program, but we are open for minors also.
Okay. Okay. So real quick, I know we're kind of like jumping right in. What roles have you been in while at the Job Corps program?
I've enjoyed a few different roles when I first started working, and I started working with you in the career preparations period where we would welcome new students into the program, and it's like an orientation, like an onboarding piece where we get you comfortable with the program. So I played that role with the career preparations period. Then I moved on to trades and became a trade advisor, where I got to learn all the different trades and then help match students with all the trades. And now I manage the trades. These are the three roles I've held, but one of the things that we would do over here is it doesn't matter what role you have. We just look at the student needs and go with that. So if a student needs somebody to case manage at that time, you become a case manager and you take care of what that student needs at that time. So it's all about the student, individualized schedule, individualized career plan, and whatever part you need to play, we make it happen.
Thank you for sharing. All right, Thalius, our student helper has a few questions he would like to ask. So Thalius, go for it.
Yes, one of my questions was, why would the Job Corps program be great for a high school or even middle school student who's starting to think about post-secondary life?
That is a great question. If I think back to when I was in high school, and if I think back about what I felt I wanted to do, right? I'm the CTT manager at San Jose Job Corps Center now, but back then in high school, I wasn't thinking that's my dream. You know, my dream's to be a CTT manager at San Jose Job. That wasn't it. This is just where life brought me. So back then, I would say I had dreams, aspirations, I had goals, but they were all over the place. Sometimes I wanted to do one thing, sometimes I wanted to do another thing, and that's okay. Because you're young and it is your time to figure out what direction you're going to take, even if that direction changes later on. What Job Corps does is it gives you a step in one direction, even if you're going to change it another time, so that it's a step up in that direction. So if we get a student that's 16 years old and is not sure about what they're going to do, they come to us, they finish their high school program, they finish a trade. By the time they're 18, they're a little bit ahead from compared to other people that have only gotten a high school diploma. Here you can have a student at 18 that has a high school diploma and a trade completion. If a student knows they're going for college, right? Great. We can help student get that trade done, but also connect them with different colleges. Basically, we can help that student get that step up in a direction, whether or not it's going to turn out to be their long-term career. Many times it turns out to be their long-term career, but it is a step in the right direction and it's productive.
Thank you, Sheena. Another question is, what advice would you give to new students coming into this program?
For new students, have you seen the movie Harry Potter?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so you know what Hogwarts is and how everybody goes and lives there, right?
Correct.
I'm gonna say it's more fun in Harry Potter. Over here, it's not like Hogwarts. When the students come in, I'm gonna say be open to being homesick, because that will happen. Be open to the support that you have around you. You know, I would say, you know, when the students come here, we're not their parents, we're not their siblings, we're not their uncles and aunts, but we are their support. So be open to that and work with us. Initially, change is difficult. Change is even scary. So when somebody makes that decision to come to us and live here with us and train here with us, it's a huge deal. So we're not going to minimize that. It might be difficult at the beginning. Just give us a chance to work with you. That would be my advice to new students. And when you come in and you're focused on your training, things are easier. but be aware that it's not going to be like Hogwarts. It's going to be a training program where you can live, and it's going to have rules that everybody has to abide by, the rules set in place by DOL. So be open to that new process.
Thank you. Another question I had is Job Corps offers an educational program and training. Are there any other offerings of the Job Corps program?
Absolutely. So when we have the students over here, we are responsible for their housing, we are responsible for their meals, their recreation activities. So we have all these PlayStations and video games all over the place. We have pool tables, we have arcade type games, we have a really good weight room in the gym, a full large gym with a basketball court. So we have all these different activities. So when your training day ends at 4 o'clock, there are other things that are involved, right? So you have the career guidance counseling team will have different unity groups. We have diversity celebration events. We volunteer out there in the community. Our students go out there and just take care of the community out there. We have lots of job shadowing, work-based learning type activities that students can participate in. And what am I missing? All in all, it's a good idea for staff and students to also have fun while we work. So we try and make sure that that happens here also. Let's see. And then we have a really good health and wellness team that's keeping everybody safe through COVID.
I kind of cut in. Will Job Corps, and maybe you said this, but and I missed it. Will they cover my food if I go into the program? Will they cover, my breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Absolutely. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner is covered by Job Corps. Cafeteria will have specific hours. So if you're too late for breakfast, well, cafeteria is closed. So everything is covered, absolutely. In its own good time. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner is all covered for all the students. And then even the uniforms. So if your trade requires uniforms and materials, we take care of that.
Wonderful. Share with us the trades that your Job Corps Center offers and that you oversee.
We actually offer 16 different trades right now. On center, we offer 7 different trades. We have medical administration, security and protective services, culinary arts, material handling and warehousing, facility maintenance that goes over basics of all the construction trades, like electrical, plumbing, carpentry, and things like that. We have retail sales, customer service, and office administration. Those are the 7 on-center trades. We partner with this awesome organization called Silicon Valley Career Technical Education for the other trades. And over there we have for cars, automotive technologies, and auto body. For construction, we have electrical maintenance, construction technology, which is carpentry, and HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. And then we have welding over there, medical assisting, dental assisting. Those are all the trades that we offer over at SVCTE. Then we have, an advanced training program called TCU, Transportations and Communications Union. That's for people that want to work in the transportation industry. Somebody is interested in trains, they're going to teach them about railroads, freight, passenger rail. If somebody's interested in airplanes, they're going to teach them about working with the airlines. If someone's interested in mass transit buses, they're going to teach them about VTA and other mass transit organizations and help those students get jobs in the transportation industry. So these are the ones that we have at this San Jose Job Corps Center. That being said, all the other Job Corps centers across the US have their own unique blend of trades, which is different from what we have. So if somebody is interested in plumbing, another Job Corps center offers it. If somebody is interested in masonry work, another Job Corps center will offer it. So solar installations, we don't have that, but somebody else does. So pretty much any trade you can think of, if we don't offer it here at San Jose Job Corps, that's okay. There are tons of Job Corps centers out there that will probably fill your training needs for trades.
Thank you, Thalias. Those are some great questions. Sheena, I have a question, or just a request. Can you provide a story or an example of a student who came into the program? Maybe they had some adversity, but they made it, right? We call these success stories. I know you have a lot, but is there a student or someone that, who stands out? I shared with our audience a little bit about Justine Dural, but do you have a story or a student that you can share?
Absolutely. So a couple examples. One that comes to mind is a student that came here from the Philippines, took facility maintenance on center, went off center to Silicon Valley Career Technical Education, took HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, left, worked on his own for a little bit, and now is the owner of his own very large HVAC company.
Wow.
It did tremendously well.
Wow.
Another example would be this lovely student came to us from China, completed her education over here with us in finance and accounting, office administration, then started working with the Job Corps program. She worked in purchasing, she worked in finance, she worked in trade training with us, and now is working for Santa Clara County for their IT tax auditing department. And she, while she was with us, also worked on her bachelor's degree in accounting.
Wow.
So she's tremendously successful out there. We call them our three musketeers, just like Justine Dural. They went to the Casadega nursing program and they all became nurses and are doing really well right now. Another good success story would be my boss. He came to Job Corps as a student in the 80s and then worked through Job Corps, got his bachelor's, got his master's, and now he manages the entire career development program right here. So lots and lots of success stories.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so tell us a challenge that students will face while in the program. What is a challenge that you can think of?
Sometimes, I would say right now with COVID and all the restrictions that we have, there's not that much flexibility for the students to leave center whenever they want to. And sometimes that can be very challenging when somebody that's used to be able to, they can come and go as they please, and now they can't. So that is difficult. Another thing is, like any school, like Hogwarts, there is drama. So the students that are able to pull themselves out of it and then just focus on school will have a better chance at success. And the students that allow themselves to get pulled into the drama will have a harder time with meeting their goals. Those are some of the challenges. And then homesickness. Students that have never been away from home, never been away from their families, or never been outside the state, and they come to us, they miss what they had, and they get homesick. And we ask them, just give us 2 weeks, work with us, it'll get easier.
Okay, how does a student, so we talked about the challenge, how does a student win in this program?
I would say if a student comes in and becomes successful here, it shows the student that they are able to accomplish these things on their own. It's a residential program. You don't have your parents or guardians here pushing you. A lot of it really falls on you to actually say, okay, I'm gonna wake up on time. I'm going to go to class on time. I'm gonna make it work. It shows you what you're capable of, and it shows you how much success you can get by just pushing yourself every day, motivating yourself every day. Motivation comes and goes, but when you figure out how to motivate yourself every day, there's a really good chance at success. Even if your line of work changes down the line, that's okay. But you develop a really good work ethic. And I feel if the students that come here that do really well, they wake up on time, it's early, they go to their breakfast on time. Some of our students actually catch a bus to go to classes to SVCTE at 6:45 in the morning. And they wake up way earlier than that, get their breakfast done, they're in line for that bus and they go. So it shows you discipline. And these students are very disciplined at the end of the day because they've gone through this, they've stuck with it, and they've completed it. I think they are absolute winners in their own eyes. I think that's the most important bit.
Okay, all right, 2 more questions. When a student comes into the program, from start to finish, in what ways do you see growth? In thinking of education, maybe skills, maybe strengths, how will they be developed?
So we have 2 years to get someone to be employable. And when you ask different employers, well, what do you need from your brand new employee that's going to work with you for the first time? Sometimes we have students that have not really had job experience before, so that's going to be their first time type of job. And the employers tell us, we can teach you everything we need you to do at work. We need for you to show up on time, take care of hygiene, be here every day, communicate really well. Everything else we can figure out. Basically, what they're looking for is somebody with a great attitude that is open to learning and not afraid of hard work. And the students that go through this program develop these skills. Sometimes we have students come in very young, and teenagers will be teenagers. And every now and then you see that growth to where they're becoming employable. They're understanding how to navigate the real world. They look at how to communicate, how to conduct themselves, how to behave in a certain situation. And you see that growth piece. Now, those are all these different soft skills, but then you also have your proper training in the trade where you see growth from scratch to where they become an expert, good enough that someone's going to pay them good money to work in that trade. So we provide these tangible skills and a lot of soft skills. And you see all those little growth pieces coming together.
Okay, you kind of answered my last question, but I did have another question, and that is, are students able to work while they're in this program?
Sure, we actually have a really good requirement. It's required. It's called work-based learning. Students, once they meet certain goals academically and they meet certain goals trade-wise, we require them to actually go work in that field while they're still enrolled and still completing their training, so they get real-world work experience. It's very, very important that that happen, and we recommend it, we require it, and we hope all students take advantage of the work-based learning opportunity.
Great. Well, I just want to say thank you, Sheena, for sharing today. I want to thank our student helper, Thalius, and thank you all for joining us. Remember to show some love for Thalius in the comment section. Also, you can reach out to us if you'd like to be involved in the podcast, or if you have any questions. That concludes your transition podcast. We will catch you guys on the next one.